Hi guys, how are y'all today? I hope everybody's doing well. I got to get my comments up. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear today. We're going to play around a little with Canvas Workspace and BES4 today. Those are my goals. We're going to get a head start on July 4th. I had to think of the holiday. What holiday's coming up next? So you're getting to see my messy world. What about, oh, that's my cup, my straw. Things are very messy in this room right now. So I've got cameras hanging out everywhere. It's kind of nuts. Hi, Tana. Hi, Margaret. Hi, Wanda. Hi, Vera. Good to see you all today. Sorry I missed you last week. Boy, I've got my camera bouncing like crazy here. Hi, Susan. Good to see you. So as you can see, as you come in, tell everybody where you're from. Let us know that you're listening, that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Hey, Joan. Hi, Robin. Hi, Susan. Hi, Charlene and Sharon and Lois. It is finally summer where you are, huh? So yeah, we had a little bit of a cool spell again this weekend. A little bit of a shocker after almost 90 degrees the week before. So yeah, we were in the 60s this weekend. A little chilly. Hi, Eileen. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Betty and Ella and Cheryl's there, and Ella. Oh, wait. Oh, I got a little love there. I'm reading to people. So good to see you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I'm trying to get in a spot. My husband brought a cushion up. There we go. I got to get rid of the cushion. And you wish it was cooler there. It's 99 degrees. Wow. Yeah, that's a little warm. We were in the mid 90s during the wedding week, but we have cooled back down, thankfully. I was not ready to go straight to summertime from winter. So 108 there. Ella, where are you? I got to go back and figure out where you're from because that's way too hot. Yeah, I've got the perfect degrees for me. I need to find someplace where it's 70 degrees year round, and I would be perfectly happy. That is my Northern California. My happy spot, temperature wise, is 70 degrees. That is my happy spot. All right, guys. So let's jump on July 4th, and let me start sharing my screen. So we're going to start out today in Canvas Workspace, and then we're going to go to BES4 and work on what is it that I want to work on there? Hold on. Let me hit new. Actually, let me just hit open here. So we're going to get started on our July 4th to get started here so that we can get ready to go. This is my goal, to show you what to do today, just so you have an understanding of where we're going. I also have another little trick that we're going to do. We're going to talk about Power Pack 2 in BES4. So we'll kind of do the same thing in both programs. I'm using a different font in each of them, but it will give you an idea of what we're going to go for. All right, so this is my plan, and we're going to start with a new page. Everybody see what we're going to go for? All right, so this is going to be a layered vinyl effect. You get to choose your colors, of course, but we're going to go with a layered vinyl effect. And we're going to just type in the word. Actually, I guess I need cap locks here. We're going to type in our USA here, and I don't remember what font I used the first time around, but let's see if we can't find one that we like. No, that's not it. We want something nice and bold. Cindy, I have done some stuff with Simply Applique. I haven't done anything recently with that one, but yes, I do occasionally do something with Simply Applique. What font did I have to begin with? You know what, guys? When you can't remember, let's see if we can open up the original and see if we remember what font it is. Of course not, because I already did something to it. Bummer. Okay. I hate it when I forget what font I used. Oh, do y'all ever have that issue? Is that ever a problem in your world? It is a problem in mine sometimes. Let's see here. What did I do? Let's try Cambria. Nope. We want something kind of nice and bold here for this one, guys. That's my goal. I should have memorized it, but I did not. It just happened to pop up and it was the perfect font. And then I went and did something else for somebody else. And this one will work. It's not exactly what I had, but we'll try it. Impact I like as well. It is a nice little font, but that wasn't the one I was using. Let's look and see if it looks better. Y'all tell me when you like one. Impact, where are you? That one will work. Let's go with it. Okay. So yes, you have to take notes. Sometimes I forget. Our first, every day, all the time, you can't remember anything. Donna, you're making me feel better about myself. I'm gonna smush this one. Let's smush it and make it. That's a technical word in my world. Smush. You got to smush it. So I'm going to basically grab the text, and the first thing that we're going to do with this text is we're going to create an offset. So I'm going to put an offset on here. We're going to go outward away from it. You can increase your spacing if you want, or decrease it depending on how much gap you want around it. So that's our first goal. Now, to make this easier for us to remember what we're doing, I'm going to paint these parts in. This one's going to be white, so my shadow is going to be white, which tells me I need to bring my USA up. And I'm going to change that one to red. And then we want a third shadow. So here we go. I've got the first one. So let's go back into our edit menu and let's go down and create another offset down here at the very bottom, offset. I'm going to leave the spacing basically the same. Click OK. And I'm going to paint that one blue. Actually, that looks like a different color than blue, but there we go. Now let's move it in our layers menu to the very end. So that goes to the back. Now that's shadowed, but I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it to where it's a drop shadow. Notice the difference? So you can sit there and kind of just play with it till you get it to where you like it. I'm going to take it to where it's about right there. I'm happy with that. And if I didn't want that much of a shadow, we could delete that layer. Let's come back in and grab the back layer and let's make less of an offset. So instead of 0.24, let's make it 0.16 this time. Let's paint that guy back in. And let's move it to the end of our layers menu to where it goes to the back. And then we can take that one and move it. I like that better. So that's more of a drop shadow that I'm looking for. Okay. So the next part, we need to hide something. So that I don't mess up my USA to begin with, we're going to hide that. So now it's no longer visible. It's not going to be available for us to mess up, but it does allow us to play with these two items that are on our screen right here. Go into our edit menu, and we are going to remove the overlap because these are overlapping each other and we don't want that back area. So we're going to remove that overlap. And now if I pull this away, you'll notice that that overlap is gone. I've got a little diblet there, and I could get rid of that or I can leave it. It depends on whether we actually feel like it adds any value. I don't know that I feel like it adds any value. So I might take that one and divide it and get rid of it. Or actually, let's just undo. And let's hit our layers menu and let's hide the white for a minute. The easiest way to get rid of this, instead of having to do a whole bunch of stuff, would be to double tap it to get your edit nodes, select those nodes, and subtract them out. So now that part is gone. If we unhide our white, oops, I hit everything. If we unhide everything now, you'll notice that my white went to the back. I need to move it forward. Actually, this is what I need to do, right? Let's unhide everything and it might help us. Everything is unhidden. Boom, there we go. Whatever's first is the front, second, third. So now we have our USA ready. I want to add some stars to it. So let's go into our shapes menu. I love the shapes menu because pretty much every shape that I want, I can find there. And here's me a nice little star. Let's shrink it down to make it to where it can fit inside. I'm going to shrink it a little bit more. And I'm going to turn that into white as well, just for us to be able to see it as we duplicate it. That way we're not just looking at a shadow. So there's there's my heart. Excuse me, what is that thing? There's my star. And let's duplicate it. So you can copy and paste and then move it down. So Control C, Control V, or right mouse click, copy, right mouse click, paste. I prefer Control C, Control V. And I'm just gonna continue doing this along the way. I'm not gonna do this for the whole kit and caboodle, guys. And I might have made my star a little bit too big. So yes, I did. For this particular part of the design, that's a little bit too big. So that one is a better size. All right, let's go back in and take these out then. Might want to start with the smallest piece to begin with. My other was more even all the way around. And it really doesn't matter where I throw these because I'm actually going to knock them out of my text. I'm going to basically just take them out to where the white peeks through. And all I'm doing is copying and pasting. And you can get in here and get real fussy if you want to and align things. I'm not worrying about that right now, but you can. I'll show you how to align if you want to align them. And you would do that for all 3 letters, okay? Let me come back and see if we have any questions. So let's see here. So far, no, it doesn't look like it. Yeah, I like the fact that that's a good tip there, Jan. That's a really good tip. Write down the name of the font in the end of your word, so that the end of it, so that you remember it. Usually I'm better than that, but today I was kind of running around like a chicken with its head cut off, trying to decide what we were going to do today. You know, I wake up in the mornings on Tuesday mornings going, oh Lord, what are we going to do today? I'm not real sure. So today, this is what we got. I remembered somebody asked this question. So, hey, here we are. All right. And I had meetings all morning, so I came this afternoon and went, okay, let's see how we can do this in a few seconds. And this is what we came up with. So let's see here. Y'all ready to assume that we've done all these, or do I need to copy and paste a bunch more stars? If you're good with what we've done, I'll show you how to align them if you want to. So if you want to align the ones on this side, hold your Control key while you're selecting them. Go to your edit menu, and then you can align center. You could do the same thing for the opposite side. Oops, got a little excited there. Got to make sure you get right in the center of your stars and align center. And then you could go use your arrow key on your keyboard and move them to the middle of the U. Okay, so that's a really easy way to do that. Now, in order to knock those stars out of my USA, I need to convert my text into a shape. Once I do that, it will let me knock those stars out. So let's go into our layers menu and let's grab all of our stars. So I'm going to click on the held down my shift key, and I'm going to grab the USA text. We're going to go to our edit menu, and we are going to choose subtract, because it's going to subtract the top layer from the base. Now, if you look, if I move my USA away, the stars are part of the USA. And when you layer your vinyl in, that white layer will peek through, and you don't have to cut the second white layer. So you would cut your blue layer, your white layer, and then your red layer. And the red layer would have the stars cut out of them, so the white would pop up through it. If you don't want to have cutouts and you want the white laying on top, don't subtract the stars from the USA. Okay. And yes, Diane, this video will be available to watch later. Once I stop and once the live is over, it will be live both on YouTube and on Facebook. It lives there forever and on live videos. Okay, so I had another question in BES4, and it was about how to do a text, a design. Okay, and Sharon, you wanted to bring the PNG file in, and I will tell you that unless you want unless you want white on the inside and black on the outside, that the easiest way to do this is just to type it in using the font that you used in Canvas Workspace and do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to show you what you wanted to do. So let's see here. Let me press new. So let's do new. Yeah, Tana, that's a really easy project to do, what I just did. It just takes a little time to copy and paste those stars, but it's super simple. So Sharon, her question was BRIDE, and the closest font that I had to matching you, and this is how I messed up mine, was Cooper. So if I go find Cooper Black, and it is one of my favorites, I will have to say, this is the closest match that I could find to what you had. Let's increase the spacing here between them. I'll make it a little bit bigger, and we're going to make 5 of these. So I'm going to copy paste, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. All right, so now I have 5 of these because there's 5 letters in this word, right? Then I selected them all, so I'm going to just drag around them all. And we are going to align them to the center so that they're all aligned. And if you want to then resize to where they're a little bit bigger, you can. The next thing I wanted to do was distribute them evenly, my rows evenly. So to do that, this is on the edit menu. Here's your distribute button. If I distribute them 1/4 inch apart and touch the vertical distribute, they will be evenly spaced. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do to these is we need to convert them to shapes. Let's see if it'll let me divide them first without having to convert to shapes. Yeah, just divide. You don't have to convert to shapes first. Just divide them. So her first letter was black. There's black. On each line, they simply had 1 black letter. And you don't have to fill it with color, but this will give you an indication of what layer colors you want to send over to your scan and cut machine. There you go. Oops, I forgot to hit OK. All right, so out of white, I would cut the ones that aren't there. So come over into your layers menu to send your first layer, hide all the blacks. Okay, simple, right? File, export FCM. You can, and it's telling you simply that anything that is hidden is not going to be sent to the scan and cut. You can export it as to your USB with export FCM, or you can transfer it wirelessly to your machine if it's connected. Take your pick. I personally would probably do export FCM. That way I could have both of my files on my USB and not have to come back to my computer again. Once you've cut that one, however, so you want to get the other layer over there. So we want to turn off all of the white ones and turn on our blacks. So the eyeballs toggle on the visibility. And if it's not visible, it's not going to be sent out as an FCM file. And I think we're done. So File, Export, Transfer, FCM file. I must have one sticking outside. Weird. My B must be slightly outside, so I'm going to sneak it in just a hair. Normally, I would go back and redo the whole thing so that I wouldn't be out of a line, but for today, we're just going to sneak it in. There you go. And once again, just export that file. Okay. So any questions so far? Sharon, did that answer your question? I'm going to show you what you would have gotten if you did that trace the PNG file that you sent me. It's more work to deal with if you trace a file that you've created out of another program than it is just to create it here, unless you were wanting the two sides of it. So let me come back and show you what it would have looked like if I had traced it. Because it has insides and outsides, let's go hit our image trace button here. And we're going to trace an image on my computer, and here's the image that she sent me. Now, outsides is only going to get the outer area. But if you'll notice, this is a really pretty bold outline around these letters. So if I choose trace areas by color, it will do it. But I'm going to have multiple pieces. So it's doing its thing and tracing it. Let me go in and let's come and turn off our image file. So you'll notice you have darker areas as you go through. And I didn't know if that's what you wanted or not. If you wanted a double outline, basically, if you want this to be your outline, what am I trying to say? The outer edge to be cut and the center to be pulled away, you would have a black outline basically and no fill. Does that make sense? Then you could do that. But my thought was you wanted these to be solid, all of the pieces to be solid. And for all of the pieces to be solid, it is a whole lot easier just to type it in Canvas Workspace. Does that make sense, Sharon? So yeah, I think you'll be a whole lot happier if you just do it in Canvas Workspace. All right, so let's go look at our Power Pack 2 and do the same USA design. So if you would prefer to work in Power Pack 2, we can do it there, as we can do the USA there as well. All right, so this was my design that I did here in BES. I must have, once again, I was having a hard time remembering what font I selected and whether it was a font that was only in Canvas Workspace or whether I had used a TrueType font. So for this one, I did use a TrueType font. And I really did kind of like this one as well. So let's hit a new page here. And we're going to come in with our text tool, and we are going to use TrueType fonts. I'm going to type in all caps. And then I'm going to click apply. So I chose Swiss, who knows where I got this font, Swiss 721 Bold Round. I liked it. I thought it was pretty, felt like it would work for what we wanted to do. I'm just going to change my color. I'm using a TrueType font, and I'm using it in artwork mode. The artwork mode is a Power Pack 2 function. I want to reduce my spacing so that my letters are closer together. So I'm going to go to a -1. Notice how it smushes my letters together. And if you wanted to get that A a little closer, you could simply drag the A by itself. I can do that here in BES4. I cannot do that in Canvas Workspace. So I've got my text ready. I'm going to go to my Arrange tab. And we're going to choose our Offset tool and choose Create Offset. I want to go to the outside only, and I'm going to go with a spacing of, let's try 3. You'll notice I have a little shadow of an outline around there. Let me turn off my grid so you can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and fill it in so you can see what's there. So it is a solid. We're going to change that to white, and we're going to reorder them to where the USA is on top. All right. So now our white piece here, would you all like it to be tan instead just so that you can see it? Our white piece now needs to have another shadow. You know, I'm not crazy about that. Now that I look at it, you see those little tidbits in there? I don't think I want those there. So let's make our shadow, our offset, a little bit larger. So let's go to the Arrange tool, Offset, and let's go back to where I had it to begin with at 4. Now I've got almost all of that out of there, but let's break this apart. So I want that little tidbit, that little guy right there. Let me change this to black so you can see. See that little guy right there? I want him gone. So if I break that apart, I can then come into my plus sign and get rid of that little piece of extra. Now I only have the one offset there. That's what I want. So we can fill this one and change our order again, just so that we know which one's on top. All right. So let's click our shadow that we did before and hit offset for it. I'm not going to make it quite as large because I think it looks better as a drop shadow when it's less, when it's not the same size. Let's turn the fill on so you can see it and change that color to blue. And it would be the very first layer, right? Then we can take that shadow and drop it down. Same as we did in Canvas Workspace, we're just kind of dropping that shadow down. Once again, I want to hide the parts that I'm not working with. This makes it easier for you to know what you're dealing with. So the eyeball next to it in your sequence window hides that layer. We're going to select what we have showing, and we're going to transform artwork, and we're going to remove that overlap. So as you can see in my sequence view window, it has removed that. Oops, I've got everything selected. Let me click off of everything. It removed that overlap. If you don't want that part of your shadow, we can get rid of that. Let's just undo what I just did so that I can move it back into position. And let's see what we have here. So that little piece right there, you hit your plus sign. That little piece right there, if I don't want it, I can simply delete it. Let's turn everything back on. Oops. There we go. Now, stars were a challenge because there are some stars built in. If I go to my cut work shapes, there are, but that's not the star I want. And this one looks like a starfish. Oh wait, there's one. I didn't see him before. So here's us a star. I had drawn one, but this one will work better. Let's rotate it a little bit and shrink it down. And we want to make sure that it fits in our smallest space, which would be the cross of the A here. All right, so it would fit there. Let's make it white. And we would do the same thing, copy paste, or in BES4, you can do power copy and then just left click where you want them to be. And I will arrange them here in a minute. I'm just clicking to put them in. This is a fast entry method. Power copy lets you resize if you want to. That's why sometimes you have to you got to make sure that you're not moving your mouse because it thinks you want to put it in at a different size. And now we can come back with our select tool and move them where we want them to go. So if I wanted to align those, I could align them, but I'm just going to eyeball it today. Just so you guys get the idea of what our plan is. Any questions so far? No, you all are a quiet crowd today. Let's see here. What else we got? I may have one more trick up my sleeve when we're done with this one to show you. We'll see. There we go. I'm happy with that S. How about y'all? Let's move this into place. I think I want an extra one down here. So let's copy this one. Put one more right there. Because we're going to, once again, I'm going to knock it out. Or take it, remove the overlap so that it's gone. Okay. So if you want to align them, let's say I wanted to make sure those were perfectly arranged, I would go to my arrangement tab, and you could choose vertical center just to make sure that those were even on either side. And then you could do the same thing going this way. Oops. You could do horizontal center, and you could distribute those evenly out over the space. Actually, evidently, I was pretty good on the distributing thing. Let's see here. Let's horizontal center, and let's distribute. Okay, so that's how easy that is. And I could do the same thing on my A, but we're not going to worry about that right now. I'm going to hide the layers I'm not working with. Now, in order to make this text, those stars get knocked out of this text, I need to first take the text and say break up text. The only place you will find break up text is to right mouse click and choose break up text. Otherwise, if I try to use any of the other tools, if I come and grab this and try to use any of my tools, they don't tend to work. We'll see. Oh, Lordy howdy, it did. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Just call me, who was that? Gomer Pyle. So there they are. I didn't have to break up my text. That's amazing. I was going to make you do one extra step, and you don't have to do it. So you'll notice my stars are knocked out. So let me undo that, and we'll do it one last time so that you can see what I did. So my stars are on top. You can see all of the stars here. You can see my USA. So select your stars and your USA, come in, remove overlap. If I had broken up my text, there was a different way that I personally did this. I said break up text, and then I grabbed the whole kit and caboodle here and I combined it. That right there, then you don't have that white layer that you have to mess with. So I like the combine better than the remove overlap, just simply because it combines it and I don't have to worry with it. Now, all of your layers are there. We would want that layer right there to be white, and you're ready to go. Okay. So any other questions on that one? Nope. I think you will find that they're both, it's easy to work with either one of them, whichever one you have. I have some tools in BES4 that I don't have in Canvas Workspace. Being able to power copy those stars makes it much faster than to have to copy and paste. So it all depends on what you want to do. Now, if we wanted to do the bride thing again, Sharon, we could do that. So hold on a second. I'll show you that one in this program as well. So with Power Pack 2, you get the cutting mat. So this gives you that space so that you know what space you're working with. Let's come in and grab our text tool, and let's type in bride again. And we used Cooper Black. And this, I am using my True Type fonts. There it is, Cooper Black. So there's my bride. I'm going to select it and make it bigger because there is no what am I trying to say? There are no constraints on artwork fonts. When a font is used as artwork, you can make it as big or as small as you want it to be. So now I have another tool here that I can use. On my Tools tab, I can choose Arrange, and I can arrange on rows. Let's say we want 5 down, and we want 1 across, and we want more space between them. Am I doing the wrong distance? I'm doing the wrong distance. 0. This is the distance I want. There we go. That's more like what I want. So now I can apply that and click OK. So now I've got the whole kit and caboodle ready to go, but I want to make my text separate. So let's click on the individual words. On this one, we need to right mouse click and choose break up text. Oops, I moved my text. Right mouse click, break up text. Right mouse click, break up text. Right mouse click, break up text. Break up text. So now this one would be your black. This would be your black. Black. Oops, I moved. Black. And black. That one's so simple. Now, the next thing that you could really do to make your life easier is select all. You can color sort. So let's go home first of all, and let's color sort. That's the first easy thing. So now you're not having to dig through and figure out which layers you want to hide and which ones you don't. Then you can go to your Arrange tab, select all items, and separate your layers. Depending on whether you're planning on doing HTV, heat transfer vinyl, or adhesive vinyl, depends on whether I would actually add layering alignment marks or not. That really depends on what you're planning on doing. If we want to make sure that your layers are aligning, then I would choose layering alignment marks. Since I have room on my right side, I would choose the right side. I would click OK, and notice it adds me those layering alignment marks. This is what you do for adhesive vinyl. Then you can separate your layers. If you are using heat transfer vinyl, you do not put those layering alignment marks on. You would, first of all, select it all. You would want to mirror it, so we would go flip horizontal and then separate your layers. And it will save colors in separate files. So we can say, what is this? Bride. So now it's separated my layers, but I will have, if I go to my computer into my drive, let's see here, I did Cindy Facebook Live files. Here we go. There's the bride, and there's bride 2. So you've got both pieces. They're both there, both ready to go. Questions? Yes, no, maybe? Y'all good with that? All right, well, I need some questions, guys, because I have really evidently breezed through this today. Who knew? I guess I should have taken more time figuring out what font I wanted to use. All right, we'll try one more thing, and I have not played with it today, so we may get an uh-oh, and we'll figure out what to do with our uh-oh, but I'm willing to try it. This will be a BES4 Power Pack 2 item, because I'm doing artwork mode today. So let's delete everything and let's go home. I'm going to turn off my cutting mat because I get distracted by it. So let's come in and let's do that USA again. I want to make my USA really big. I'm going to change my spacing because I want it less space between. I even want to go even further than that. Let's go -3 on our spacing. I want it pretty darn tight. All right, I'm good with that. I'm going to go one more. I'm going to come back with my text tool. I'm making this up as we go along, guys, so I'm really not sure exactly what I want, but we're going to make this the way we want it. I kind of want them overlapping. All right, so now, in order for this to work to where I don't have that little overlap there, we're going to right mouse click, break up the text. And then we are going to select it all, and we are going to combine it. Oops, that didn't work. We're going to select it all, and we are going to weld it. So now it's one unit, okay? So now let's make this a little bigger and a little bit bigger. Okay? And let's add our star again. Where's my star? Here we go. Actually, we're going to make this even bigger. I'm gonna rearrange here. Move that to the front so that this is sitting on top. And let's make this a little bit smaller so we can knock it out of our star. Y'all with me so far? So, if I want, still not what I want to do. So hold on. I really do want my star on top. I do believe I really want my star on top. So let's zoom back in. Okay. Let's see what we've got going on. Now we're going to take this. We're going to grab everything. So let's go all items to our arrange tab and go to transform, and let's knock that out. And it should, do you see how it knocked the star into the shape of my USA? Anything that you don't see would not be there. It wouldn't be cut. So if I hide my USA, this is the star that would cut. That's what cuts out of the blue. So if you put in either white or yellow, let's say we put in yellow, or you could make it red, that knocks that piece into that design. So it kind of gives you a different look, a different effect, something to play with. We could do that with love as well. So let's say we do a heart shape. Let's do this a little differently this time. Let's do a heart shape. A filled heart. Where's a filled heart? I know there's one in here. There it is. Okay, so let's zoom out. And now let's come in with the word love. Let's change that. Or actually, y'all want USA? Let's do USA again. We're on what you call it, holiday. So for this one, we're going to do a little bit differently. I'm going to break up my text, and I'm going to start making these letters a little bit skewed. So I'm just basically, I'm resizing each individual letter to make it what I want it to be. All right. So now we're going to grab those three and we're going to weld those together. That's our first step. And so now let me smush them in. All right, so now you're ready to knock it out. Let's see what we get. All items, transform, knock out. So if I hide my USA, there you go. There you go. We could do it the opposite way. Instead of doing the USA that I just did, you can come in. Let's make that a negative number again. And I'm going to smush them together. The first thing that we have to do in order to make this work is we're going to right mouse click, break up the text. We're going to select all items. And what am I going to do? I am going to weld them together first. All right, so now let's make it to where our heart will look good in there. Home, add design. Let's add that heart. And make it whatever size you want it to be. And then grab it, all items, arrange, and knock out. So now you have a heart that's knocked out in the shape of your USA. I don't know why it didn't grab that one part. It should have grabbed that one part, but it did not seem to do that. So if you don't like what it did, you can always remove the overlap. That's not going to do what we want it to do. It's we wanted it to knock out. So that, like as I said, we're doing this on the fly. That one didn't work as well as I thought it would. It should have knocked out that S down, that part of that S, and it did not. So some work better than others. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so let me come up here and see what we've got going. Knockout can't be done in Canvas Workspace like I just did. You have to remove overlaps, divide. There's more steps to it there. The knockout is pretty impressive here in BES4. Is it possible to bring an applique from the Scan and Cut into my Solaris to assign stitches to it? No. Are you talking about a shape from your Scan and Cut to your Solaris and turn it into an applique? No. What you can do is you can draw that shape. I would personally, after use one of your drawing pens on the Scan and Cut, draw the shape that you want it to do. I personally would scan it back in as scan to USB and save that out. Take that into your sewing machine, which would be our Luminaire, and go through my design center, and then you could do create the three parts of your applique. If you have the Scan and Cut playbook, that is one of the lessons, except for I did not use a built-in shape. I had you scan something in. The only extra additional thing that you would need to do would be to draw the shape that you want in from the sewing machine, from the embroidery machine itself. If you have P Design, then you could basically bring that FCM file in to P Design and convert it into an applique very easily. Palette does not have that capability because it does not have the Scan and Cut tab. All right. Let me think. Any other questions? Trying to think if there's anything else exciting that I can give you today. Not really. Not along these lines. Let's think. What else do we have in here? I'm looking, seeing if I can come up with something, since you all don't have any. Y'all don't have anything. Good for me. All right. I'll show you some built-ins here. In BES4, if you go to Add Designs, what else did you get when you got Power Pack 2? So you do have some summer designs in here. This one right here is one that is kind of cool. Don't forget that you have different things that are built in that you can always use. So let's see here. What else do we have? Here's a USA. I could have used that one instead of the USA that I used. Ooh, let's do that. Let's see what that does for us. So what did I do first? We went to our range tab. We chose offset, create an offset. Let's go with 4 again. And change the color. Let's fill that in. I'm going to go ahead and do my second offset while we're in here. All right, let's layer them the correct way. Boy, that's bright. Take this one and drag it down because that's your lower letter. Oh, this one's going to kind of, I like this one. Okay, so we actually have, I have my colors wrong, but y'all can live with that, can't you? We'll make that one white, this one red. There we go. Hide the layer you don't want to work with. And once again, select it all there. Transform. Remove overlap. Now let's turn this other layer back on. There you go. And if you didn't want to put the stars on it, you're good to go. So Tina, are you talking about with vinyls? Ooh, that was a pretty hairdo. Are you talking about vinyls or are you talking about with embroidery? Diane, P Design is the brother program. Palette is the baby lock program. There are two additional items in Palette, excuse me, in P Design 11, that is not included in Palette. P Design 11 has Scan and Cut tab that allows you to bring in your FCM files and convert them into embroidery files. It also has a Stitch Design Factory that allows us to create stitches for our brother embroidery machines. So our brother sewing machines. And Palette does not have that. So those are the two main differences. Other than that, they are basically the same program. You just don't have a Scan and Cut tab. Yes, Sharon, these would take they would create 3 cut files in the Scan and Cut, yes. So Tina, best way to do lettering for caps. Center out, bottom to top. So if you have a single row of text, you would change it to center out. And I tend to do that in BES4. So if I came in here and let's change my text to embroidery mode. I'm just going to type in my text first and we'll take off True Type fonts and let's go pick a regular font here. It automatically switched me back into embroidery mode because this font doesn't work in artwork mode. If it didn't, I would need to choose style and change it from standard to change it from artwork back to standard. Down here where it says sew sequence, you have left, you have right. Huh. This one's not going to let me go center out. So let's pick a different font. Wonder why. There we go. Evidently, Archaic does not like, it only gives you left and right. That's a new one for me. I've never played with that font. Let's try Bounce. I like Bounce. Okay, so let's look at our text. Sew sequence currently, left to right. So it's going to start on the left side, go all the way over to the right side, and stop. If, however, you change that to center out and apply, it will start embroidering in the middle, go over to the left, and then go over to the right and finish up. And the reason that you would do that is so that the cap would not shift and go all the way to one direction or the other. And the reason you want to go bottom to top instead of top to bottom is so that the push doesn't push it down. It would push things forward up towards the top instead. So that is the best way to do cap embroidery. You want to try to always get your files as close as possible, bottom to top and center out. Okay. All right, guys, if you have nothing else, then I guess I will see you next Tuesday. As far as I know, nothing else is interfering with life unless there's something else, some other current world event that I may have missed and didn't realize that's happening next week. If not, then I will see you next. So, Tina, no, if you want to do it in P Design, that's a whole different matter. You have to rearrange it yourself. So hold on. I will hold on just a second. Let me go to P Design. And if you have your text in P Design, you have to manually sequence it. There is not a center out option. I'm going to make my text bigger so that we can see it. Ignore the fact that it's probably too big. So if you want it to go center out, you would rearrange it yourself in your sewing order window. That would make it go in the middle, left, left, right, right. Okay. So there's not a magic button in P Design for changing things to sew center out. You have to do it yourself, but it's easy enough. That's easy enough to do it. Simply Applique does not have that, Cindy. It's not an option that I know of. Hold on. Having said that, I may be wrong. Let me see. Let me see if I can open up Simply Applique and see. I won't swear to that on a stack. Oh, I think I opened Simply Applique twice. You have more options in BES4 than you do in Simply Applique. Simply Applique is not as a robust of program. It's great for appliques, but it's not as robust of a program as BES4. So it doesn't have as many of the tools built in. So let's see here. Sew sequence, we'll see. Let me change from Swizzle Applique to something else. Brandon. Okay. I do see sew sequence, but I have left or right on Brandon. Let's see what else we've got. Let's try Pep Rally. Okay, so it depends on the font on this one, but you do have it. I do not have, I've got to have all cap letters for this font. So depending on the font, you've got sew sequence center, apply. Okay. So if we select this, if you don't have it for that particular font, what you can do, and I'm going to give this to all of you guys so that you all can understand this, you can hit the multicolored text button, that button right there. That will change it to multicolored text. Ooh, I can't do that here. I can do it in BES4, but I can't do it. So that's not going to let me rearrange because it's still text. I can't change the order of sewing. So, but that would give you the capability of going forward and going backwards on your machine, if that makes any sense. That breaks it down into color blocks so that you could skip forward to the color of letter that you want to stitch first and back up. If I were in BES4, I could preserve that as stitches and then just reorder those letters and then change them all back to the same color. But if you didn't have the center out option, if one of your fonts didn't have that option. But in Simply Applique, you are more limited. There are fewer options. It is just the nature of the beast. Okay. All right, guys. If there is nothing further, be sure and send me in questions, because obviously that's where I get a lot of my material from. If I know what you're trying to do, then I will try to find the solution for you. So if there are no other questions, and who is angry on me? Vernell, I am so sorry. I don't know what I did to make you angry today. Scan and applique to cut and then embroider. Fusible on the back is the best option. Where are you going to scan them? Are you doing it on a luminaire? What are you doing it with, Eileen? So I need to know. I need a little bit more information. What I normally do, scanning fabric to get something in my design center is more of a challenge than if you scanned in the artwork. So what I tend to do is I scan in the artwork into my scan and cut. I will save that out as a JPEG, take it into my design center, use that as my line art, and then cut the resulting applique to match the applique that I created. That would be my suggestion, not knowing exactly what you want. If you can explain a little bit more what you want the next time around, I'll see if I can answer that more fully. But that's really, that would be my way. That's the way I would do it. I would scan my design in first into the scan and cut, take that artwork over to the luminaire and use the line image portion of it to do that. So yeah, what I would do you have the playbook? Because I'm telling you, there's an entire lesson on how to do exactly what you want to do. It's the teapot. Flower pot wrap thing is a bag. But it's a teapot, and it walks you everything through it. I can do my design center. I am not going to focus on my design center in this particular area. I can do that on Brothers because this is software. I try to stick to software on my page simply because we do. It won't be in the Luminaire playbook. It will be in the Scan and Cut playbook. The Luminaire playbook focuses on the Luminaire. The Scan and Cut focuses on the Scan and Cut. I just happened to add in a lesson on Scan and Cut with the Luminaire. So that you'll get it out of the Scan and Cut playbook, not out of the Luminaire playbook. But I do have a Brother Sews one this month. I can do that on Brother Sews this month. And that would be on the third Tuesday of the month, whatever that Tuesday is. I think it's the 16th. So, all right, guys, just check us out on the 16th. I'll tell Angela that's what we're going to do. We'll do something similar to that to kind of give you an idea. I can't go both ways that day. I can do one or the other, but my page, we try to stick to software just to kind of keep the two things separately. Just depends, but things are crazy right now. To set up two machines is a little bit out of my wheelhouse right now. I have a lot going on. So, all right, guys. Oh, it's the 15th, Robin's telling me. Thanks, Robin. Y'all got to keep my calendar for me. I can't keep up. I didn't realize this week was that I'm on All Brands this week, which I will be doing Scan and Cut with All Brands Thursday afternoon at 3:30 Central. So we'll be doing Scan and Cut and Persona. All right, guys. If there's nothing else, I will talk to y'all later. Bye.